If you see me, it is nothing else but Fut-Afrique channel, and I am with Mpoza. We will be previewing the big final, massive final, the first ever final of African Football League. And this, I can't wait for this moment. Well, we are waiting. Are you ready?
You gotta be ready. I mean, Chris, I saw some crazy numbers. They said there was over 356 million that watched that final in Wydad, just the first leg.
Yeah.
And if you look at the Wydad supporters,
Yeah.
they let Sundowns know that they were in hostile ground.
I watch just to check, and for people who don't know where the games are showing, the channel that I knew and I was watching, I watched it at SABC. I watched it in beIN Sport 7 in French, beIN Sport 5 in English. I watch it in the UK. It is a TNT in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they know about South African football, a team called Mamelodi Sundowns. Well, I've got a smile because it was great when you're speaking to people around the world and they're saying, in South Africa, you know this team? I say, that is our team.
Here's the thing, and I always say to people, at the way that the Sundowns led by Coach Rulani is playing, Coach Rulani and the systems that he's playing and how in tune he is with the way that global teams like Man City, I mean, if you watch a lot of Spurs, if you watch a lot of Man City, Sundowns style is not too far off. If you watch Brighton, it's because you are in that mix, and the type of football that Sundowns is playing is now attracting a lot of attention. Who's this young coach that's coaching Sundowns? Who is this Sundowns? And you look at what happened in Wydad, you go, I'm looking forward to Sunday.
Well, beside the fact that there is a myth around the world, especially in South Africa, that Africans, they don't like South Africa. And this is showing that that is a myth. It's not true. Because after the game, Sundowns lost the game, but they start going Cabo Yellow.
Look,
everybody in the stadium start going Cabo Yellow.
But look, and here's my thing, and it's one of the things, even before the game, Coach Rulani was with the
supporters.
The supporters. You've got to look at it and say, you are a worthy adversary. Because there's no compliment better than the opposition supporter saying, we see you,
for you,
we know you, and then you look at the camaraderie that happens after the game. You've got a coach that's talking to players. Because remember, Boutwell comes from Morocco.
Yeah.
So he was playing home for the first time in a long time. Now you're getting this camaraderie of the players, of the coach interacting with them. And it's after 90 minutes, we shake hands and we're able to be top-class human beings. And that's important.
The fact that Morocco went all the way to the semi-final of the World Cup, there is attention around African football.
Definitely.
And I believe AfricanFootballLeague is showing what Africa can achieve and what Africa can do. And for me, there is no better way for African players, especially from subcontinent, to show off themselves in Europe for them to get better contract and to look after their own.
Because you can't do this with just saying the play. Because you could play, but then who sees you?
Yes.
You've got to go back to the CAF leadership and say, by virtue of the type of rights that they negotiated, the type of networks that they negotiated with, because now you are saying, at CAF level, the leadership, the world takes note of it.
Yeah.
FIFA takes note of it. The type of football that's played now, the world is, we've got broadcasters that are buying that football. Then that says, our football is headed in the right direction.
Yeah.
We may not be there yet in terms of other FAs and all the other countries, but you are saying, at top level at CAF, we're on the right level. The people that are there are negotiating for the right rights, because if you have been watched in the UK, if you have been watched in France, if you have been watched in the Americas, it means negotiation has happened.
In the Arab world as well, we keep forgetting that Saudi Arabia is coming back a bit big, and they will find a place where they can get players cheaper, good quality but cheaper than going to Europe like they've been doing in the past few years. But another thing is, I was listening to commentary from a CAF group. There is a gentleman say, I hate everything about African Football League, but gentlemen, let's give it. We're watching good African football.
Look, and I think one of the things is there's a lot of concerns about AFL from a lot of people, from your traditionalists, because this is a new competition. What does it bring to the continent?
What is it taking away from the continent as well?
And all those things. But now what you are saying is saying, you look at the organization around the pitch and everywhere else, spot on. And in the past, we've got to be honest when we take stock and say, in Africa, we have not organized competitions well.
We did not take football seriously.
And now you've got a leadership that says, we're going to first take ourselves seriously. Then what we put on the table is going to be serious. Now the world is taking note. After this AFL, I'm looking forward to the AFCON. I'm looking forward to the Champions League.
What Africa can give us.
Because now you are saying, people that are working there, they're getting world-class experience and the world is taking note.
Posa, we can talk about this and get excited, but the point is very simple. Your team lost.
Yeah, no, but hey, look, let me put it this way. Remember I said, wherever Sundowns goes, they've always got a goal in them.
No, your team lost.
I know they lost, but I'm proud of the way that they played.
How can you be proud when you lose?
No, go look at the performance of Tebogo Mokoena. Go look at the performance of Aubrey Mudiba.
You know, you sound like me as an Arsenal fan. After losing a game, I started looking how we played. You lost a game.
No, we lost a game, but it's halftime.
Ah, okay. That's where I wanted to get.
Because when you look at it, and this is one of the things that's always interesting, the North Africans would always want to play in the evening because they use the crowd, the lasers, and every other thing that...
You're still in your story of the game being playing here at 3 o'clock. It is an advantage for Mamelodi Sundowns.
Okay, Chris, you've played football at 3 p.m. in South Africa.
Yeah.
What is it like?
Well, listen, to breathe, it is not easy because you're bringing high altitude. Mm-hmm. So the heat is very different. When you hit the ball travels longer than if you're playing it here. Yes, you know you're playing against a team that is coming from the sea level. No. Mm-hmm. All those stuff do affect. But Mamelodi Sundowns spent 3 days in the sea level, yet they lost.
And it was said that, for me here, things that there were some players whose performance... Again, it's Wydad, and again, another own goal. No, we must find a new Sangoma. For that.
But you know the North Africans don't live in Sangoma.
So for me, it's two things. There were two very critical mistakes. Rivaldo, own goal. Mm-hmm. Number two, you look at Allende trying to header the ball to his teammate, headed it to an opponent. Mm-hmm. And you've got to be able to say, okay, those were mistakes that happened. Can they be fixed? And then you look at the pressure that Sundowns was putting in the second half.
And then you look at how Sundowns scored.
But also you've got to look at the players that were playing.
So what are you telling us? People are watching in South Africa and they're watching in North Africa. By the way, what is amazing, I think I did not tell you, before El Ali game, I got called because of you, obviously, being on the studio talking about Mamelodi Sundowns. I got a call from Egypt to be on the call to talk about Mamelodi Sundowns. So,
but look, and there's a rivalry.
So what are you telling us?
There's a rivalry that's building between Sundowns and the two top African countries. In Morocco, it's Wydad, and in Egypt is Al Ahly. Because you know, Al Ahly will always use the media very well. If you look at the media leading up to that game, I mean, they had Coach Rulani asking him about, did the ref assist you? And I must give it to Coach Rulani because he then took them on a footballing lesson where he says, do you not? And with the way that Sundowns played away, it played smart. And again, it showed maturity. And when they then moved over, and we've got to say, Wydad played very well in the first half.
Wydad is a very tough team. I mean, I remember in South Africa, there are certain teams that take pride the fact that they have beaten Wydad away or at home.
And you've got to give it to Kaizer Chiefs.
So because they did it in the time where they could not sign players.
Kaizer Chiefs beat Wydad away in Casablanca, which was very important. You can't take that away from them. What has happened is that Wydad has evolved. The type of coach that they have, the type of personnel that they have. But in that, Sundowns matched them in the second half. If you look at the performance...
Is Sundowns winning the return game?
Yes.
Is Sundowns going to be called the first AfricanFootballLeague champion?
Yes. That I can say. Because
I'm sure Mamelodi Sundowns supporters, they want a different type of a star to be created just for
No. Star must remain for the Champions League. No, it's okay. Star must remain for the main thing. The main thing must remain the main thing.
What can we expect from Mamelodi Sundowns in the return game? In the game that you are still forcing people to go in for free, and then you won't get over 50,000. What can we expect from Mamelodi Sundowns?
So I can tell you that from a coaching perspective, the lineup is going to be very interesting. It's going to be interesting because there are players that are almost match fit. And remember that the last time that Sundowns played with a proper striker in Peter Shalulile was in the MTN 8 final, which was before the international break. So they've been playing with a false 9 for the longest of time. But because of the quality of the squad and being able to be Sundowns, they've managed to creating goals and being able.
Actually, Cirilo got a lot of games, huh?
Cirilo got a lot of game time.
I did not expect him to have so many games.
He also played well because
listen, he's a quality player.
And when you look at that, if a Ribeiro comes back, if a Shasha comes back, you've now got a different way of play. Then Sundowns is going to play very different because you know you've got your go-to point in up front in those guys. And there's this thing that you've got. There's an aura that these players have. If you speak about Shalulile, he's got that aura about him. Ribeiro is building that aura about him.
Sundown winning the first African Football League.
The stadium announcer, and I think it may just be Nelson Belebesi, he will announce on Sunday that the first AFL champions are Mamelodi Sundowns, with a 1-0 score line that's good enough to get Sundowns over the line.
What can you say to make somebody who's watching this to make the decision to go to the stadium? Is not paying for that, for all the matters. What will you say for them to make that final decision to go to the stadium? Tell them something.
You've got to be able to go and enjoy good football, because across the board from Sundowns comes a Wydad, who were the finalists in the Champions League, who are now leading a quality team. So the football that will be played by both teams, you've got to be able to go see Marcelo Allende, you've got to be able to see Themba Zwane, you've got to be able to see a defensive masterclass by Khuliso Mudawe at the back, because nothing gets past him. You've got to be able to see Sundowns playing out from the back, because when Ronwen Williams has the ball, he rarely kicks it forward. You're going to be able to see, and I'm hoping that Rivaldo Coetzee injury is not too serious. Then you're going to be able to say, they're coming back. You've got to be able to see a Tebogo Mokoena. No.
For me, it's very simple. In 10 years' time, when the African Football League will be so big, because this is here to stay, I want to say, I was there when the first final played. That for me, it is, if you are a football lover, you are not going there to support Mamelodi Sundowns. You're not going there to support Wydad Casablanca. You are going there to experience football. And how many people there have been in the stadium where Infantino is there, Arsene Wenger is there, the president of CAF, Dr. Motsepe is there. No, it does not get bigger.
I always joke, and on the Spaces, Roger hates it when I say this. My sons will say, Daddy, I watched Sundowns beat Al Ahly 5-2 at Lucas Mouribe.
Yeah.
At Loftus. And there was a 5-0 that Sundowns beat the same Al Ahly at Lucas Mouribe. And then my son always goes and say, the first leg of the Champions League when Sundowns won against Zamalek, I was there. There's something that goes with that, and you want to be able to say, I was there, this is what I saw, the atmosphere, when things were changing, when the supporters were singing, when Sundowns were singing Kabuyelo, you've got to love it.
My prediction, the final score will be 2-1 Mamelodi Sundowns, and the game will go to penalties. Who's going to win the penalties? I have absolutely no idea. What is the final score?
Final score, 1-0, Sundowns wins, and they become the champions of the AFL.
Until next time, join myself and Mpoza as we keep talking about African football. Cheers.